All right, so back here with 52 weeks of live coding MLOps. Last time I was able to cover some things with Hugging Face and get into spaces and kind of build things out, build out models with Gradio. I think I'm going to keep going on that path here and get a little bit more into the features of Hugging Face. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to build another screen here and go over to Hugging Face and share my screen. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to here and go to Hugging Face. Okay, perfect. And build this out. Okay, so in terms of Hugging Face here, and maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. This looks good. Perfect. All right, so um, a few things that we've already covered in Hugging Face were models, right? There's 50,000 models, which is pretty interesting. We see that there's lots of different kinds of tasks. There's 16 different kinds of tasks, which is pretty useful. There's libraries, right? So TensorFlow, for example, and then we have data sets, and then there's different languages, which in terms of natural language processing could be really important. So one of the things that I haven't done yet, right, is get into things like auto train, for example, and uh, how would we find some of these other different things you can do on their website? So if I go to Hugging Face, let's see here. I want to, so because I have a professional account, I'm going to go down to my profile and go to new auto train project. So let's go ahead and try it out. Again, I've never tried this out before. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm going to go ahead and select new project. And in particular, it's asking me to say, try auto train on us, do text classification. Okay, let's try this out. I guess probably what I should do is follow a tutorial. That would probably be the smart thing to do. Um, although it says you will prepare data and the next step here. I mean, we could just blindly try something. Uh, let's just try, sentiment analysis. All right, let's just see if this will work. Text classification, binary, model choice, automatic. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, now that we've got this, it says auto train needs example data, which can be uploaded as files in the .csv or JSON L format. Each file must have at least two columns, one for text and one for the target. Okay, so this looks pretty useful. I see. And so in this particular example, you can also select an existing data set from Hugging Face. Okay, well, let's pick a data set. Does it have IMDb? So let's find this. We'll say IMDb. Okay. Label. Oh, okay. This looks pretty good. So sentiment classification. Oh, there you go. Useful. So we'll say IMDb. IMDb. There we go. And then we'll say a config. Select the config to continue. Select the split. Maybe it's, I don't see how I'm able to do this. Drop files. Let's try it again. IMDb. Select one to continue. Not sure why it's not letting me do this, but what could I do to get past this issue? Can I go to data set? Or here we go. Let's just make it easier. Let's try a different approach, which is notice it appears that you can find data sets and then train them in auto train. Okay, let's try that. So let's just let's go cut to the choice here. That's interesting. So use auto train to automatically fine tune. So create a project. Let's follow let's follow the information here. So it says choose a task when you're ready. Okay, upload your data, start auto training. Auto train automatically finds the best models for your data, track your progress, use your models with dedicated endpoints. So conceptually, this does look pretty cool, but I think we need to look at the documentation here for auto train. I don't know if there's an easy. Let's go ahead and look at this, and we'll say auto train. Here we go. This looks pretty recent. Okay, we're going to leverage auto train to build an active learning pipeline for text classification. Kylie is a platform for doing machine learning. So what do we do? So let's scroll down here. Let's look at the raw data set. Okay, so here's a GitHub repo with this project. If we look at his data, we have, I guess we could look at the process data. Wow, there's a lot of data here. We have status, content, just an echo chamber for anti-wet, financially successful noise. So we have some data sets here. That's pretty good to know. And if I scroll back here, I can go to the article. So let me just keep this around. And let's start by looking at the raw data set. There's 10 columns and 40,000 samples. The only column we need is content, which is a review of the user. And so we've defined 4 categories: subscription, which would be, this is on Medium, people that are basically paying for these articles. Content, this is, there are a lot of writing from poetry, interface, and user experience. So from the labeling part, we need to create a project in the Kylie platform first. This looks a little too much for me. What could I do is I could go to Kaggle here. Let's see if we can find, I think I was looking at this a while back, that this is a good data set here. News articles. I think this is like a fake news data set. Let's go ahead and download this. I'm going to log into Kaggle first. I'm going to download this data, and I'm going to unarchive it. Here we go. News articles. Great. So now I think I can go to auto train, and we can do text classification. And we'll call this fake news. This looks good. And we'll create this project. And now I just need to drop this inside of here. Aha, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And so let's let it do everything automatically. We want to map the columns. The column should contain the text you want to classify, and this should contain the labels you want to. This is the text we want to classify. So we want to classify. I'm going to just pull up this data really quick and look at it to see what it is. I guess I could look at the data set from Kaggle. We could, so we have author, published, title, article text, language, the site URL. I want to see all of we have label. That's what we probably care about, is label. And so let's go ahead and look at what the label is. The label is, oh yeah, real or fake. Okay, that's good. Real news, or fake news data sets. This looks pretty good. So we want to predict then the label. No, we want to predict the target. And this is a column that contains the text you want to classify. And then we want to get the text. There we go, text right there. And we want to go to this target. So let's go ahead and add this. There we go. And now that we have this, we can go to training, and the auto train will train 15 models. Now budgets from $95 to $130. Don't like the idea of from $95 to $130. That seems like I don't want that. So let's double check how much this actually costs. So we'll say Hugging Face auto train costs. Let's see what this does. Based on the train models, auto train. Let's see here. So I'm using the Pro plan. Train models using auto train. First project is free, then pay as you go. So that is interesting. I don't think I've trained anything yet with but what I could do is let's go ahead and delete this one so that I'm just kind of curious if how this actually works in practice here. So I'm going to delete this one. And so I've never used it before. You have all the files you need. So budget from 95, that doesn't seem like what I want. That is a little bit spooky. So what if I said basic from 31 to 40? Training more miles expensive, but increases the, that I still don't like this idea, which is trains models easily using auto train, pins models for instant ability. Yeah, this seems excessive to be able to be charged that much money for the training. So maybe I won't be using this feature. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting feature, but I think I'm gonna call it a day there and say no. like I don't want to pay for $30 to train this model when I'm just kind of kicking the tires. So that might be something. It looks like it's still a feature that's in beta. They may need to work out. So I guess I'll skip doing auto train and I'll look at a different feature of their platform. So let's go back to Hugging Face here. So we tried out, or we looked at auto train. It seems like potentially the other thing that we could play around with on Hugging Face here would be an inference dashboard, and take a look at that next year. So what do I got? I have a model that I'm using, and I've requested it a couple different times. So that's kind of neat. What else do I have on here? Let's go back to here. We have data sets. I haven't used data sets yet. I guess we could look into how I would upload data sets to Hugging Face. And that's a good question, actually. How would I do this? So let's see here. New data set. So if I go to new data set, let's try this. We'll call this fake news, and this will be Creative Commons. And I'm going to go ahead and create a data set. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the data that I just had earlier. So files. Now, what I don't know how to do though is how to upload data. So edit data set card, open. So I need to figure out how to actually upload data. So, this is how you would change the settings. We have the commute file, add file. Here we go, upload file. So let's click on this. And if I go to downloads or maybe to desktop, I think I had news here somewhere. Well, at least what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that data set I was news articles. It should be, I'll put this on my desktop so I can upload it. There we go. Let's upload this to our desktop somewhere here. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna move this news articles to my desktop. Got it. Now I can click on this and I can go to desktop and I should have news articles. Perfect. Great. And now if I commit those changes, this file is stored with git lfs. It's too big to display. Okay, so the data preview is not go to need help to make the dataset viewer work. Interesting. You can edit the dataset card to edit it. So what does that mean? So we don't know how this works either. So we see license. I think I need to read up on how this works. Let's read up on datasets. Okay, so how does this work? So we want to use a data set to evaluate your model. So the data set objects. What if I want to upload data? So we want to load the data. So you already have seen how to load a data set, but this shows you the hub without a data set loading script, local loading scripts, Hugging Face hub. So, I mean, that is useful. This is pretty cool that I can load data. But what if I want to, oh, here we go, upload a data set to the hub. This is what I want to do. So I did this. I created a repository. I want to click on the profile and select a new data set to create a new data set repository, which is what I did. And then I uploaded the file. We support the following formats. Okay, once you've uploaded it, they're stored in the repository. The last step is to create a dataset card. So, oh, okay. So let's do this. So we go back here and we go to dataset card. Okay, so we have to edit this. Click on create dataset card. Okay. Template. Uses tags. Huh. Dataset. We'll call this fake news. And this is going to be text classification. And okay, we got all that. Input your YAML. Okay, now we go to files. Huh. Yeah, I don't get this. This is a little bit complicated here. Okay, let's go back to our data set. CNN Daily Mail dataset card. Dataset viewer. Wow, this is, well, I guess the good news about Hugging Faces, it's a lot more complicated than I thought it was. And there's a lot of features to it. And there are some rough edges. But basically, I need to basically fill out a template inside of here that says things about the data. Hugging Face privacy. What is interesting though is yeah. So I have something in here. It says couldn't find a dataset scripts. Doesn't contain any data file. So maybe it doesn't think that I have anything. But I don't understand how I would change that. So make this, rename it. Nope, I don't see anything. And if I go back to the documentation here and I say upload a data set, I would go to the beginning. It says create the repo, create new data set, upload your file. We support the following formats. Drop it, which I do see that they're stored here. Test data, train data. Okay, the last step is to click on create dataset card. I don't see that. Oh, dataset create. So why is it thinking that I have a dataset card when I don't have a dataset card? So that is weird for sure. It says the README exists, but the contents. Yeah, I don't know. This is a befuddling issue here. So I guess what I could do is just start over again and go to my data sets, which is kind of hard to find, but or just make a new one. Just say like test and say create data set. So there's no data set available. So at least we're getting the same thing. Oh, here we go. Look, now I see no data set card available. Okay. Now when it says that, template, oh, I see. Wow, this is a lot of stuff inside of here that I don't want to fill in when I'm creating the data. Add a YAML, copy and paste tags, data set. I guess, sure. Let's just do what they say. That do. Errors in your YAML. Oh, I see. More information needed. So if I just delete a lot of this here, and I also add YAML tags here. Is that card for test? And then homepage. What does this do? Did that work? Okay, we have a dataset card. At least it's a bad one. And then what's the other thing they want me to do here? So they want me to, but what I was missing is it says drag and drop your dataset file here. So add a file. Okay, so if we go back here, we go to file, we say add a file, upload a file, we click on it, and if I go to news article and we say commit, it says it's too big, which is definitely interesting. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on here, but this is probably a good spot to stop and say, well, I tried a couple of different things. I was able to try, for example, the auto train, but got a little spooked because I don't want to get charged like $50 to try out a feature. I need to know a little bit more about that. And then I started to dive into data sets, also got a little bit fumbled around there. I need to explore it some more. So there's definitely a lot more to go on Hugging Face. So next week we can dive into more Hugging Face and dive into data sets and get a little bit more detail into data sets.